Hello everyone, my name is Leslie. This is the series of Frugal Thoughts, and this is day 3 of a Frugal Tightwad Christmas. So today, which it makes this December 8th. So today we are going to talk about another way in which we can focus on how to save money for during the holiday season. And this one actually, if it's not for this holiday season, it can certainly be for next holiday season. And this one is about the component and the cost of traveling during the holidays. What I wanted to mention to you today is that I am 100% for families being together and doing everything that you can to be with your family. However, I do think that there's a couple of things that we can consider. Number one is the method of how you get there. My children, my 3 oldest children all went to University of Notre Dame, which is in Indiana. It's about 675 miles. We only ever drove there. It was a 12-hour drive, but with 3, 4, and sometimes 1, 2, 3, I guess 3 or 4 or 5 of us in the car at the same time, it was far more affordable to drive there than it would have been for us to fly into Chicago and then take a shuttle back into South Bend, Indiana. For us, that I had done the math 1,001, do the math. I always say do the math. I have done the math several times. It was far cheaper for us to drive. There's also the convenience of being able to get up and leave when you want to leave. It was a 11 to 12 hour drive. And we did not drive in the worst months, which was December, January, out there. So that may be something to factor into. However, bad weather, at least if you're in a car, you can pull over to the side and maybe make it into a hotel, versus if you are stuck in an airport, which there have been many a year where people are stuck in airports. So I do think you should consider how to go, whether you drive or whether you fly. I think you also have to consider when to go. If you are going to drive, I think you should obviously leave, especially, and it's really nice now with remote opportunities to work remotely. I have a friend whose son came home the Saturday before Thanksgiving and left the Wednesday after Thanksgiving. So he was home for basically 10 days and never missed a day of work because he was able to work remotely. So that is fabulous. And he lives in California. We're in Philadelphia, outside of Philadelphia. And then the other thing to consider, and like I said, maybe not for this year, maybe too late, but if you are traveling to your in-laws or your parents or your sisters, I think one of the considerations, and it's something that I would definitely look into, is at some point do you say to your elderly parents, rather than us drive to you, can we bring you to us? And that would be a way for only 2 people who maybe have a little bit more freedom and more time on their hands to come to you, versus you having to take a whole bunch of people at probably a far greater cost. So the traveling aspect is something that at least you can either, if you haven't booked your flights or considered when you're driving, maybe you are someone who your relatives are all within a 30-minute drive, in which case you are very lucky. And like I said, I'm a big believer that families should be together at all costs, no pun intended, over their holidays. However, I do think that there is a way to make it not as expensive. So that is my frugal thought on day 3 of Frugal Tightwad Christmas, the travel aspect. I have over Thanksgiving, and this is what prompted this discussion over Thanksgiving, I had a friend and she was telling me that I think it was like 12 people travel up to her sister's house outside of New York City. Actually, it's an apartment, and that sounds really wonderful. But then I was like, wow, you guys could almost get like a hotel outside, and they all have to stay in hotels because her apartment isn't big enough. But I just wondered if there was a less expensive way. I mean, obviously being in New York City is wonderful, and it's a wonderful opportunity, but there are definitely less ways to do it if you are being gazelle-like, like Dave Ramsey would say, and if you are trying to pay off debt, and if you are trying to save money, you may want to reconsider your travel budgeting and ideas for next Christmas or even this Christmas. This is Leslie. Thank you so much for watching the 3rd day of Tightwad Frugal Christmas, the 12 days. This is day 3. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.